Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lily. I have a 2-year-old named Lucas. I have been wanting to do this video since the first day that Lucas slept through the night. A little background about me: when I first had Lucas, I had just graduated from nursing school. My husband and I were newlyweds. We had just moved into a new 1-bedroom apartment, and on top of it, I was studying for my NCLEX, which is the state exam to become a licensed registered nurse. So I had a whole lot on my plate. So if you're a mom who's juggling different things, your baby doesn't sleep through the night and you're sleep deprived, then I got you. If you follow this way that I'm gonna tell you and you stick to it, it should work. It should take you 4 to 7 days to train your baby to sleep through the night. I promise you, it is so worth it. The main thing is you have to stick to it. As hard as the first days are, you have to stick through it and finish it. So first things first, when should you start sleep training your baby? Pretty much you can start at any time. The only exceptions would be if your baby has a medical condition, or they're underweight and you're trying to help them gain weight by supplement feed. Then I would talk to your doctor to see what is the best time to start sleep training. Other than that, you should be able to start at any time. Now, there are many sleep training methods out there, but a lot of what I did came from the Babywhisperer. This book is literally a lifesaver. It was written by Tracyhogg, who is a registered nurse and also a child expert. And what I love about this book is she gives you a structured routine that you can follow throughout your day. It just organizes your day and it makes it so easy. Also, babies like routines. When you're following the same schedule over and over again, your baby starts noticing what comes after what, and it makes it easier for them to follow that schedule. And they trust you more and they feel more safe. So it makes it easier pretty much for everyone. So Tracyhogg puts the steps that you're gonna follow in an acronym known as E.A.S.Y. E for eating, A for activity, S for sleeping, and then U for you time. When the baby's sleeping, it's mom's time or the parent's time. So before I started using the E.A.S.Y method, the first thing I did was, for a couple of days, I watched my baby all day, and I would write down at what times he was getting tired and he was taking naps. It usually ends up being around the same times of the day. The book also suggests that you watch your baby throughout the day for a few days to figure out what schedule you can come up with. So for my baby, he usually used to wake up at 6 or 7 in the morning. So at 6, I would get him up and I would feed him, because it's E for eating, you start with feeding. And then A for activity, we would do some activity. And for little babies like 6 months old, it could be just stretching their arms and their legs, or just like laying them down on the floor and massaging them, just any activity you could do with them. And then S for sleeping, whenever it gets to that time, I would put them down for a sleep. And what I did was, I went online, I went on Google and I typed in samples of E.A.S.Y, E.A.S.Y way from the Babywhisperer, and I found this sample. You can't see it on here, but I will totally link it down below. I will link down whatever I'm mentioning in this video, I'll link it down below. And I found this way. It's by Noob Mommy. Thank you so much for putting this out there. This is exactly what I used. And she has easy way. She has a schedule you can follow for 4-week-olds, 6 weeks to 4 months, and then 4 months to 6 months, and then 6 months and beyond. And that's the one that I used, is the 6 months and beyond. So basically, here it says at 7 a.m. you would your baby would wake up and you would feed him, and then at 7:30 it's activity, and then between 9 and 9:30 it's nap time. So I adjusted my schedule to 6 a.m. because my baby woke up at the time Lucas used to wake up at around 6 a.m. So you can adjust it to like watch your baby for a couple of days, and then you can adjust it to whatever time works for you. And it doesn't have to be like, this is just, it's a sample, so it doesn't have to be exactly this time. Like my baby didn't wake up exactly at 6 a.m. every morning. Sometimes he wakes up at 6:30. And so what you do is you move down everything to 6:30, and then everything will move by 30 minutes. So I'll put this out there. It's like another lifesaver. And this is what I followed. In the E.A.S.Y method, feeding comes whenever the baby wakes up. When your baby wakes up, you feed them. You don't feed them before they go to sleep. There's always an activity in between. The reason why that happens, and Tracyhogg talks about it a whole lot in the book, is because you don't want your baby to make the association between feeding and going to sleep. Because then what happens is whenever they wake up in the middle of the night, they'll expect you to feed them back to sleep, because in their head they will think, oh, like I have to feed to fall asleep. But that's not true. In sleep training, what you're trying to do is you're trying to teach your baby to fall asleep on their own. As adults, we do it too. We wake up in the middle of the night, but we just turn and toss and we fall back asleep again. That's why you're trying to teach them it's okay to fall asleep without needing you to rock them to sleep or feed them to sleep. Whatever it is that you do, you have to stop that. That way your baby can figure out that they can fall asleep on their own. Now let's talk about the sleeping part. How do you actually train your baby to fall asleep on their own? Before I even talk about the method that I used, I know this part gets sensitive for a lot of moms. As soon as I hear my baby cry, I would go get him. I wouldn't even give it a second, because I thought, something is wrong, and your first mother instinct is to go get your baby. And that's exactly what I did at first. So if you're really sensitive to this part, you can either listen through and decrease the intervals between when you're checking on your baby, or if you're really, really sensitive and you just can't hear your baby cry, there are ways you can use. It might take longer to sleep train them to sleep, but if you Google the no cry method, there are ways you can use. So let's jump right into it. When Lucas was a baby, he pretty much woke up every hour. Sometimes it was every 45 minutes. So what we did was, before he goes to sleep, we came up with the same bedtime routine that we use every night. So we don't do this before his naps, we only do it before his bedtime. After this was the only time that I broke the E.A.S.Y method, because normally you're not supposed to feed your baby before you put them to sleep. And I didn't do that for his naps, but at bedtime, because he was waking up at night so much and I was feeding him throughout the night, I decided to feed him before I put him to sleep. And then after, I would just hold him and I would walk to his crib and I would say, I love you, baby, you're gonna sleep so good, and I'll see you in the morning. And I would put him down and I'd just walk out the room. Now the first day that I did that, it was confusing for him, because normally I would sit down on his rocking chair and literally rock him to sleep, and sometimes it would take me 20 minutes or more to have him fall asleep. So the first night when I put him down and I left the room, he started screaming because he didn't understand what was going on. And I was outside, I just told myself to keep calm, and I was looking at the monitor. Another thing that I would totally suggest to get is a baby monitor. I'm watching him sleeping right now. At the time, I was a student. I didn't even have money to buy anything, but I went on Amazon and I read all the reviews, and this was, I think, like $50 or something like that. And I can't believe like how good it is. It's, I mean, we use it 24/7, 7 days a week. It doesn't get any rest, and it still works. So I would say I would highly recommend getting a baby monitor. I'll link this one down below. But anyways, I had this one here, so I know the room temperature is the same as it normally is. And I just watched him. He was unsure, he was crying. He has a blankie he sleeps with, and he started, you know, playing with that. And with the method that I used, you go in the room to calm him down. You go in the room to calm your baby down every 5 minutes times 2, every 10 minutes times 2, and then it would go up by 15. So like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, 10, and then 15, 15, and it would go up. For me, it never got past that 10 minutes. And that was the first day. So I was outside and I watched him for 5 minutes. He didn't stop crying, so I went back in the room and I picked him up and I said the same thing again. So you try to find like a phrase you can say over and over again at bedtime. That way your baby feels safe. You want that way your baby can relate those words to meaning like he's safe. So I just told him the same thing again. It's okay, baby, you're okay. It's time to go to sleep. I love you and I'll see you in the morning. And I repeated that it's okay part again and again. And then I didn't hold him down for more than 20 seconds, and I put him down. And as soon as I put him down, he started crying again. And when you put him down, you don't want to pick him up again if he's crying, because that lets him know, oh, it's not okay to be put down. Like she's picking me up because I'm crying more now. You're trying to teach your baby that it's okay to be put down. And so I put him down and I walked out the room again. And then I waited 5 more minutes. And this time it was getting better. He would cry, but he would stop, and he would at this time he was able to roll around. So he would roll to his blankie. He would hold it, and his cry was changing. And then I waited 5 more minutes again. He didn't go to sleep, so I went back in, picked him up again. I said the same thing over again. It's okay, baby. It's time to go to sleep. I'll see you in the morning. I love you. And say that it's okay part again and again. And then I put him down again and I went out. I'll honestly tell you guys, you will feel bad when you're outside and you're hearing your baby cry. But I just kept telling myself, you know what, this is like, so scientifically, it takes babies 4 days to learn a new behavior. So I read so many blogs and I've heard it from so many people that in the 4th day, the baby will pick up that new behavior, routine, or whatever you're teaching them. So I just kept telling myself, it's only 4 days. I only got to do this 4 days, and then my baby will be happy. He will sleep all night. I'll sleep all night, and I'll have so much energy for him when we wake up in the morning. That's what I just kept telling myself, that, and you will need that. But having the baby monitor was so crucial because I knew he was safe. I could see him and I wasn't scared. So I waited 10 minutes, I did it again, and then I came out, and then the next time it took like 5 minutes and he fell asleep. Now, if your baby feeds a whole lot at night, has been feeding a whole lot at night, then Tracyhogg suggests doing, or if your baby's young, she suggests doing a dream feed. So dream feed is basically you pick a time, usually around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., no later than 11 p.m. You'll pick a time, you go into the room, and it's called dream feed because you're not waking your baby up. You just slowly pick them up and you would feed them and then put them back again. and then put them back into their crib without waking them up. So I waited. He slept from that, so he slept until 10 p.m. And at 10 p.m. I went in the room and I picked him up from his crib. I just really slowly, and I sat down and I fed him, and then I put him back in his crib, and he, I put him back in his crib, and I walked out the room. And literally the first night he slept until 5 p.m. Like, I couldn't believe it. He slept from so that was 10, right? 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he slept for 7 hours, and he woke up at 5 a.m. to feed, and I followed the easy way again. Then the next day he woke up like around 5:15, pretty much. Like, it's been a while, so I don't exactly remember it, but he started waking up at 6 a.m. Right now he's 2-year-old, and his wake up time is 7:30 a.m. So it just started getting better and better. But I was happy with the 5 a.m. as long as I had that huge gap of sleeping. So that was a lot of information. Let's do like a quick review. Another big thing would be when you start sleep training, everyone has to be on board. Say like if you have a family member that watches your babies, or a babysitter, or whatever, whoever's involved, they have to follow the same method. So I think I've covered everything. I wish you all the luck in the world. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I'm active on Instagram. I like to do little vlogs with my baby here and there on stories. So feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at @habeshanurse. I'll link it down below. And feel free to comment down below if it works. If you try it and it works, and I know it will work if you stick to it, leave me a comment down below letting me know how it worked. Or if you have any questions, I mean, every baby is different, so there would be a lot of questions. Just leave me a comment down below and I will totally reply. And if you know there are other moms out there who have little ones and they have sleeping issues, then please share it with them. Thank you for sticking through the whole video. It turned out way longer than I wanted it to be, but I felt like I needed to say everything that I had to say. Thank you again for watching.